How important are you to comics? Well, as it turns out, you are the most important thing. The universe revolves around you. You are the center. It sounds very zen, and I'm exaggerating a bit, but where you're concerned, yes, you are the most important thing. And let me explain. Hey, everybody, this is Perch. This is either going to sound very, very cheesy or like one of those empowerment videos, or both. Probably both. Let's be honest. So, a couple days ago, I did a video about is the comic industry collapsing? And what's interesting to me is that question and that topic and that general kind of fear based argument is so tiring to people at this point that there were several people, at least two people, that downvoted the video and sent me messages within a minute of it, being posted and live. And it was clear they had not listened to the videos, because one of the comments was like, "I'm so sick of people saying the comic industry is dying." Now the video actually says it's posing a question. The video name is saying, "Is the comic industry dying?" And I even thought in the subject line, putting in parentheses, "No, clearly not." But this is, let's dispel that rumor. But anyway, it's fine. But it shows how this topic is such a knee jerk reaction, such a toxicity to it, that people are just, they're tired of hearing it. It's comic industry dying. They're tired of it. Um, it's nuanced arguments and details are difficult for social media and Twitter and kind of rapid consumption of videos. I mean, who nobody really wants to get involved in the nuance of, the comic industry. Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? Where is it healthy? Where is it not healthy? I mean, it's not that hard to figure out, but you do have to kind of dive into the details. But beyond all that, I guess I have a philosophical viewpoint on comics that, regardless of what the numbers are, it's why every now and then I'll see videos of people who are like, "We're gonna, dig through the Disney annual report, and we're gonna try and get to the bottom of, if a Superman comic for 1 year costs $1 million to produce, and it's selling at 40,000 copies times this rate, blah 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 blah, and it's making 2 million. That's a 30% increase in profit." That those kinds of arguments are good if you're an analyst. It's good if you're trying to get to, like I said, like details, like getting to facts about the situation. But you really don't have to. I think you can simply state how you feel about comics, how what comics mean to you, and that really is all that matters to you. As long as you recognize that your case is yours alone and may not be the case of others. So, what do I mean by that? There's a number of fans who, for one reason or another, are frustrated with Marvel, or don't like DC, or just are just frustrated with the big two publishers. And maybe it's because of the art teams, maybe it's because of personal politics of some of the writers, maybe it's because of the price on the cover, maybe they grew out of it and they just don't like Batman anymore. There could be a lot of reasons why people get tired of comics, or like something one day and do not like something the next. When I was younger, I would watch the WWF, and that tells you how old I am. It was the WWF back then, and it was goofy. It was fun. I mean, I never believed it was real, but I enjoyed the kind of theater aspect of it, and I thought that it was silly and it was entertaining. And then I got a little older, and I feel like I'd watched enough matches. I'd seen enough, where you get to this point where you become a smart, or a snark, a smark, um, smark, I think is the right term in wrestling, where you kind of, how the match is going to go, and you're like, okay, well, this guy won last week, and then they've set up this redemption arc, and then this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and you start to just be able to predict the match and exactly what's going to go on inside of it. And you discover in that process that the whole thing becomes significantly less fun through that process. You don't, why do you need to watch the show anymore if you kind of just know how everything's going to get booked? And so eventually, stop watch wrestling. And yeah, the other day, I came across wrestling, and I sat down and I watched about 20 minutes of it. It's like, it hasn't changed. The new people there, new faces, new things going on. But we got here's the interview, and this segment is going to lead to a mixed tag match, and then the tag match is going to lead to betrayal. And it's like, I've seen all these notes before. And so, when it comes to comics, it's natural in many ways for people to either age out or experience out of a comic. They've They just, we've seen this arc before, we've seen this storyline. It doesn't seem to really matter. I think the tipping point for a lot of people with comics is when you realize that no matter what crazy situation Batman gets put in, he's not going to get killed. Even when he gets killed, he's not actually going to get killed. Grant Morrison can have, Darkseid kill him, and then he is going to come back through time travel, and then be running around and doing Catwoman on the top of a ceiling. I mean, they're just, once you kind of break the illusion of it, it never really is going to matter. It takes away your enjoyment. That's why I've always felt like, to be continually engaged in comics, you have to feel like it matters. You have to feel like the stakes matter, even if Batman's not going to die. You need to be able to feel like this situation or this thing that's going on with him is going to change his life in some way, give a new aspect to the character, be significant. It's why, I understand a lot of people have just gone on and on and on about Tom King and kind of the nightmare of Tom King and everything that he did. But I will give Tom King credit. Tom King was trying to insert stakes, not the Sizzler type stakes, but the actual stakes into the character. And you can argue back and forth whether he did that successfully or whether the stakes he put in made sense for the character. I think having an emotional look at Batman and kind of his psyche and depression and kind of all of that, breaking the bat psychologically as opposed to physically. I mean, it's an interesting parallel. Bane broke his back. Now Bane's breaking his spirit and his psychology. We're wrapping up to love, and what does it mean to, let yourself be vulnerable, and all those kinds of things. I understand what King was going for. King was going for big stakes, big trying to, change the character in some way and make it different. The challenge is, that the story didn't quite go over well. There was an aspect to it that just didn't land. And for me, now other people are different, and that gets to kind of the crux of this whole video and the whole point. At the end of the day, comics are going to matter to you, or they're not. It's it's you who gets to decide. It's your wallet, it's your money, it's your time, and nobody can take that away from you. Only you can take that away from you. So if you are tired of comics, if you're frustrated by Batman and you don't find it entertaining anymore, don't buy Batman, and it's problem solved. I think that's the secret to life, and the secret to comics is buy what you love, consume what you like, spend time on things that actually matter and make sense to you. And if you're hating something in life, if you do not enjoy it, stop. But the other part of that is you have to have some self realization to recognize that you are making this decision for you. And this is where I think a lot of people, especially the ones who talk about the comic industry dying and everything is coming apart and so on, it is, they lose track of the fact that the comic books are a personal thing. If you do not like comics, it does not mean the rest of the world also does not like comics. Not at all. Could mean that just it didn't work for you. If you want to watch somebody get really, really upset, and I've seen this happen now pretty regularly within the social media and the comics community, is when a comic sells well, but kind of the big names do not like it. We saw it with the Diversity in Comics channel and Hickman's X-Men. He didn't like it. He really disliked the first issue. A lot of people did like it. It was in the comments, more people liked it than not, and it started a little weird civil war within the video. You saw people attacking each other. People who clearly hadn't read the issue who still were holding on to the Marvel sucks, and no matter what they do, they're going to suck because they wounded me. Which again is a fine view to take, but it's your view. It's not everyone's view. Your view does not speak to everyone else. If you do not enjoy Disney, Star Wars, DC, Batman, Jawbreakers, Cyberfrog, if you don't enjoy those things, that's on you. You just stop watching it. Stop reading it. Stop going to Disney parks. Stop giving Disney $1,000 for like 1 day of park tickets for your family. Don't do it. But don't then turn around and start to claim that everyone doesn't like Disney parks, everyone doesn't like Captain Marvel, or everyone doesn't. It's okay to be comfortable in not liking something that other people like, and it doesn't make you weird. It doesn't mean that you have to change your opinion. There's this very strange dynamic where people who dislike something, there's almost this pressure they put on themselves to that if they dislike something out of norm, then they either have to convince everyone else it sucks, or they have to change their mind. I had this very strange conversation with somebody where they were saying, Disney sucks. It's like, okay, um, that's fine. Um, and it became, well, the Disney parks are failing. Disney is going to go out of business. It's like, well, that's unlikely. I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They're raking in the cash. People still love to go to theme parks. It's part of our cultural kind of DNA to say, I want to go to Disney. You know this when you have kids, and your kids have never been to Disney before, and they see one commercial, and they're like, yeah, I got to, take me to Disney. I need to go to Disney. I don't care. Put me in Disney. That's the happiest place on earth. I'm a believer. Send me there. I mean, when your kids get very insistent upon, yes, we're going to Disney, and with no context of Disney, you realize what a kind of strong pull that place has. But there are plenty of people who dislike Disney, who have no desire to go to a crowded theme park, spend thousands of dollars, wait in line to ride a kind of a lame ride compared to other amusement parks. There's plenty of people who dislike it. They don't want to buy $50 t-shirt merchandise and feel like they're getting gouged. Um, but that doesn't change all the people going to the park who do enjoy it. It also doesn't make your dislike any less valid. So with comics, the most important person is you. You're the one who has a limited amount of time on this planet. Spend it well, read comics you like, enjoy comics you like, and don't get hung up or worried about if other people like it or not. If the entire world likes Hickman's House of X, Powers of 10, and you picked up one issue and you're like, this is not for me. The X-Men are acting like weird cult zombies. This is just gross. I don't like it. Cool. I mean, that's who am I to say that you should like it or not? I have no. It's not my business. That's your business. And so, therefore, being comfortable with what you like and what you dislike, and then in turn, being comfortable that your opinions may or may not reflect the greater society. That's the key to a happy life. I've said things like this before. I just want to reiterate it again and again because we have all these arguments about, is the comic industry dying or failing, or was it better before or now, or is woke storytelling ruining comics? Is racist ruining comics? In the end, who cares? Buy comics you like. If you discover there are no comics out there you like at all, none, that sucks, and that's a bad position to be in. And now, granted, if you are a like kind of Christian values in comics, and that's you like that kind of storytelling, yeah, there are fewer comics on the stands that will probably speak to you. Hopefully, there's still some stories you enjoy, and I think it's lousy that if people can't find stories they like in comics. I think that's a lousy thing, but it doesn't change the fact that other people are going in and consuming it and buying it. So you got to just know, what argument are you wading into? Are you wading into a personal argument about what you like and don't like? Or are you wading into an argument about facts? Because if you're wading into an argument about facts, you have to be prepared to accept that some of the facts that you're going to be arguing for are going to be in opposition to what you like. I am not a fan of baseball. I find that sport insanely boring. I just can't do it. I go there and it's like, this is a place to get drunk. This is not a place to watch any kind of whatever this sport is. This is a terrible, boring sport. I just can't do it. However, I can't deny that when I look around, I see thousands of other people in the stands who are seemingly enjoying themselves for whatever reason. So if I said, this sport is boring and nobody should watch it, and it sucks and it's dying, I would sound like an idiot. So I have to acknowledge, if I'm going to be talking about the health of baseball, I have to acknowledge that millions or billions of dollars are spent every year on baseball. It's bringing in money. Now I can say, hey, the money spent this year is less than the money spent last year, so maybe it's on the decline, and maybe that makes me feel good because I don't like baseball, and so I like to feel like my opinion is the popular one. But in the end, it really doesn't matter. if I'm going to make an argument, I have to deal with facts. So I'm going to make a passionate argument about what I don't like. It's actually a much easier argument because I'm automatically right. Whatever I say about me is right. If I say I hate baseball, somebody can't come and argue with me and say no, you really love it. That would be insane. So this is very freeing when you get into arguments about comics. Being able to say I like X-Men, I like Batman, I like Cyberfrog, I like whatever it happens to be. You get that gets to be you. Nobody can argue with you. It's you. And that tends to be a happy place if you can get there. It's a lot easier than banging your head against a wall against trying to kind of manipulate facts. Just easier. Hey, live a happier, normal life. That's me. Self help with Perch. That's what we're doing here today. What? Okay. So, what about you? Leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. Does this resonate with you? Is it do you accept you are the most important person in your universe? That sounds very cultish. Anyway, leave me a comment below. Like, subscribe. Check to see if you're still subscribed. You might not be. YouTube does weird things. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch. Ask me some questions there. Happy to answer them. And thanks for listening.